All right, I'm gonna do this other topic about like doing God's will and what is doing God's will. Like, what is doing God's will and doing the Real Black Jesus will. And like I said, like I keep saying, there's a lot that get into different things, but I'm gonna just speak about certain things that I want to speak about that God revealed to me about certain stuff. So it's like I'm gonna speak for me. Like me, what is God's will to me? I guess like me is just like doing God's. So for me, like doing God's will is like basically, there's a lot that get into it. So it's like, but basically me, like, I guess, like, speaking up against the devil, like, going at the devil, and, that's just, but that's just to me. That's what God's will is to me. Is literally like, you know, creating change, creating, like, the New Jerusalem type stuff, like fighting for, like, to tear down Satan kingdom and to like save souls from hell. Like, that's literally what doing God's will is like, fighting for all that stuff and like, and going through your journey, fighting for all that stuff. And like, a lot of stuff like is going to happen like that to where like, you have to do that. You have to step out on faith and speak up on certain stuff and speak some truth and do certain stuff. Like, God's gonna lead you to have to speak up about certain stuff. And I'm not saying like you're gonna be you're gonna be perfect, but you gotta fight to do your best in it. You gotta fight to do the best you can in speaking up and speaking truth. It's like, and everybody's in different scenarios too. Like, to where like, yeah, like, let's say you speak truth, you like it kind of tests how much you love God too. Because I've been in positions to where like I don't know, like, you could be like, someone could be violent to you, like you could get killed for speaking truth, a lot of stuff. So like, I'm not telling everybody just to be stupid and like whatever, but like, and get themselves killed. But like, at the same time, you kind of gotta like find some way possible to speak up and go against the devil. You gotta find some way to strategize, and sometimes like you got to go through your persecutions because of it. You kind of got to like do some part of God doing God's will is like you got to go through, your licks, and you got to go through your like, cause that's part of doing God's will. Part of doing God's will is you're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer for God. You're gonna suffer for God because that's just how God's will is. But people don't want to suffer for Him. So that's why people don't do God's will, because people don't want to suffer. That's why people don't want to speak truth, because they know what entails speaking truth is you're going to get attacked. So like, when you speak truth, that's when the devil go at you. That's when all these people, attack you. That's when society attack you. That's when, the devil come after you, because you meant to destroy his matrix. You meant to destroy his whole system and his whole everything, like, so people gonna like, yeah, a lot of people gonna betray you. A lot of people gonna like that's if you're stupid. If you're stupid, you shouldn't be close to people that like, you shouldn't even be, unless you like play them for prophecy, something like some Jesus shit. But I don't know, like, whatever situation, I don't know, makes sense. But like, no, but for real, like, whatever, like, I'm just saying like, like, part of doing God's will is you gotta move right to and everything too. But I'm like, yeah, it's like, and part of doing God's will is a lot of people that society is gonna like hate on that. Society definitely hates when you do God's will. Like, that's what I noticed about the world. It's like society hates God's will. Like, the world hates God's will. Like, the devil matrix and Satan hates followers of God and people who do God's will. You gotta understand, why does the devil attack? Because it scares them. I mean, it scares people. That's why. And then also that, like, the devil gets scared. So like, the devil wants you scared. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, me, like, that's kind of what doing God's will is. So like, is it's obeying God too. Obeying God too at that. Like obeying God. Like that's part of it too. Like you gotta obey God. And like you gotta understand, like doing God's will is getting a deep, earning your relationship with God, like getting a deep, intimate relationship with God and the Black Jesus. That's part of God's will too. Like he's doing all those things. It's like, you know, and you gotta understand, like there's different parts of God's will. Like there's different parts, like different things for everybody. So it's about like finding out like what God called you to do. You know, like that too. Like what God called you to do for His kingdom. Like what Jesus called you to do for His kingdom. So that's what it is too. Like, you know. And then you got to do it. Then you got to do it. You got to do it. That's God's will. Then you got to do it. You can't just sit here, be lazy, you know, and not work and like not like, you know, no, you got to do that. You got to do that, you know. You can't just be like, oh, like, let's just, you know, yeah, but that's what God's will is, you know. And, yeah, you know, and that's what I want to say about like, that's to me like what doing God's will is. And there's a lot of other stuff that get into it, like I said, but like that's what I want to say. Much love, peace.